Hey classes, it's Mr. Hayes on September 22nd with today's mini lesson on using questions to help us analyze. We've done such a nice job with our CQAs thus far. We got the structure down from Friday. We made some changes to our context on Monday. Today we're going to add a sentence or two to our analysis. It's probably the toughest part of the CQA to pull off consistently, to finding those layers of meaning, gaining that insight, making those text connections. So I want to talk you through a strategy that I think will help you not just with this CQA, but throughout the year. And that is this glue in, which formerly was a glue in, now it's just a slide, questions to help us analyze. This gives you 8 awesome questions to ask yourself. And if you can answer a handful of these questions and make them into complete sentences, your analysis is going to be top notch. So what I already kind of did with my exemplar here is I already used 3 of these. As you can see back from my exemplar from True Diary from last Friday that I wrote, I have some sentence stems already here, and I basically took 3 of the questions above and I already used them for formulating these 3 sentences. You might have done the same thing if you looked at my CQA or used the sentence stems we've talked about through reader responses. You've probably already naturally done some of these. So for me, I did this quote perfectly shows, this moment reminds us of, and this helps us understand. So if I go up to my questions here, I've already basically done, I guess that would be quote shows. So it would be number 2, what's this moment showing us? I've already answered that in a sentence or 2. This moment reminds us of. I've already done number 6. Then they're making those text connections. What does the book remind? I'm sorry. What does this remind me of from another part of the book? I've checked that off. And this helps us understand is a very simple one, but it's important because it covers theme or motifs in a story. Here I have an act of bravery is the only way to break a cycle of despair, really strong theme. I've got that here covered with number 8. What does it help us understand? So 2, 6, and 8 I've already accomplished. I can almost just check those off. But my goal today is to add 1 or 2 more sentences of analysis. So I'm going to go through these questions and ask myself, which of these can I answer that's related to my book and my claim for my CQA? And how can I make a sentence or 2 around that question? And then I'll add it to the bottom or wherever you want to add it in your analysis. If it doesn't quite fit at the end, if it fits more in the beginning or the middle, you can plop it in there too. So you can see my process here on the next slide. So what I did here is I just grayed out the questions I already answered. The 2, 6, and 8. You can cross them out if you want to. If you wanted to type them on a separate sheet of paper, you can just visually kind of say, okay, those things are off limits. I've already answered them. And I looked at the, I guess this would be 4 that I have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I have left. 5 because I used 3. So I'm going to ask myself, which of those 5 do I think I could still answer and add to my analysis? Well, I thought the ones that stood out to me that worked the most. There's no wrong answer here. Are number 4, which is what does this make the reader wonder, and number 7, what can we now infer? I like number 4 because it makes you think about, well, 4 and 7 both make you think about what could be ahead in the book for Junior, what could be going on next. What am I now wondering about now that he's moved to Rearden? What might happen to him socially, emotionally, with the people on his reservation, how they're treating him? We know we have a mixed bag so far with Eugene kind of supporting him and his dad secretly supporting him, but many like Rowdy feeling that he betrayed the res and betrayed the tribe. And also, what can we now infer? That's such a key for any analysis, whether it's a reader response or a CQA. I want to hear what you are predicting. What are you guessing based on your knowledge of the book? What do you think is going to happen next? What are you inferring about what could be in store for a character or a change in the setting or a change in the conflict that's going on? So I answered those 2 because I feel those are very strong. But obviously, 1 is a great one to start out your analysis with. If you want to use this moment means as a sentence stem, that's a great starter for your analysis. What has the reader now learned is also great for capturing theme, as is 5. What does this matter to all of humankind? Because many times, stories that happen with Junior or any protagonist in a book, they are lessons that apply to all of humanity. They're not just relevant and applicable to that one character. They apply to the whole world. So I'm going to use 4 and 7 though, because I like to make those inferences and those predictions. So 4, I ask myself, okay, my claim is about Junior leaving the res after Mr. P's incident and going over to Rearden to find a better education for himself, breaking those chains. So now I wonder, as a reader, how Junior will adapt at his new school and whether his identity will now transform from Junior on the res to playing a part as Arnold at Rearden, which to me is a sacrifice he's easily willing to make for a better education. there was that moment in the book, I can't remember exactly which chapter it was, I think it was chapter 8, where he said he felt like 2 people living in one body, where half of him was Junior on the north side, the other half was Arnold on the south side, and how he has to figure out, is this always gonna be an identity crisis for him, or is he gonna gravitate towards one side or the other? Well, to me, judging by his first impressions at Reardon, especially with getting to know, um, sort of some of the habits of the students there, specifically with Roger, falling in love and having a little crush on Penelope, but also the way that he sees that school is taken more seriously there. I don't think he's going to hesitate much to become more Reardon centric, so to speak. So I think to me that's an educated inference. That's what I think is in store next for Junior, and so I formed that into a sentence based on this question. And you can read 7 on your own here, but I basically did the same thing. Just saying that I can infer it's going to be challenging, but if he finds an ally along the way, it's easy for him. So I decided to take number 4, my sentence I formed from that question, and in the purple here, I added a new category, new analysis, which is anything that I've added today, and I made that into my last sentence of my analysis because I felt like that's where it fit the best. So that's kind of the process I'd like you to go through today. You're going to ask yourself, okay, I read over my analysis. Which questions have I already answered? Which sentence stems have I already used? And cross those off your list of 8 possibilities here. And the ones you have left, can you answer 1 or 2 more of those? Form them into complete sentences like I did, and then add them at some point in your analysis, beginning, middle, or end. And that's your goal for today as far as revision goes. That's all you have to accomplish. Okay, so now that we've looked at our context and our analysis and we picked out the best of 3 quotes, we are really ready to become very familiar with these parts of the CQA and start a new one later on this week with the knowledge that we now have. Any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. Email if you're in person today on the Zoom meeting. I'll be happy to help. Thanks, everybody.